I read the book Letters to a Young Teacher by Jonathan Kozol. In the book, Kozol talks about how to be a good first-year teacher. He talks about children being children and how they should be treated as children. Children should not be forced to learn things that are out of their capacity. Children should be imaginative and creative. They're only children once, and it should be embraced, not looked down upon. The teacher needs to find a way to relate topics and understandings to the students' lives. The teacher must also get to know the students and their parents. Kozol talks about his own experience with understanding and knowing students by making house calls. It was meeting parents on their own turf that allowed them to open up and allowed Kozol to get a real glimpse into the minds of the children. The students were also more open with him because they were in their own element, on their own turf, in their comfort zone. Making a bond like that can leave a lasting impression on not only a child but also the parent. He also writes that if children are expressing themselves in maybe not the most correct way, shouldn't be scolded but praised and for expanding their creative thought and language skills. Working on correct spelling and grammar will eventually come, but being in the moment with the student will help that child learn a lot more than scolding and correcting. He kind of says to go with the flow and little by little start to educate the student with proper spelling and sentence structure. He says that schools are too worried about passing federal requirements that much of the creativity and artistry of learning is gone. He says to have fun with your students and remember that they are children. It's a shame that learning has become so mechanical. Students should be taught lessons, not how to take a test. He says some schools eliminate recess to ready the students for state exams. Children should be children, and part of the learning process is through social play and interaction. There's a big difference in inner-city school learning, which is mechanical, and suburban school learning, which is full of thinking. For a child to succeed later in life, they must be able to think for themselves, not a scripted or triggered answer. In conclusion, he says, tests, as every educator knows, do not teach reading, writing, or the other basic elements of subject matter. Only good, hard-working teachers do, and only if they work under conditions that respect their own intelligence. At the very least, they ought to make it clear to every child in their room that high-stakes testing is at best a miserable game we're forced to play, but that our judgment of our students' intellect and character and ultimate potential will have no connection with the numbers tabulated by a person who is not an educator and not in the classroom. Once a child understands this, learning will take place, and the place of stress to pass a required exam will cease to exist. Thank you.